Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today, this video is going to be a little bit different. As you can see, we got a coating of snow last night. And if you remember in the last video, I said we were going to have a cold day. Well, today's that day. It's 19 degrees this morning, so SAP's not running. So I got a little downtime, which is fine. I got to do a couple things. So today, I had a subscriber reach out to me on my channel and was asking me some questions and asked me if I'd be interested in coming down and checking out his setup. Today, we're gonna head down, check his setup out, maybe give him some pointers, help him along a little bit. Gotta pick up a roll of stabilization fabric for the pad over there that I gotta build next week. So, stabilization fabric is what you put down before you put your material on the ground. If the ground's a little bit soft or uneven, helps stiffen it up, helps it drain. So, we're gonna hop in the car, we're gonna head down, give this guy a hand, and then we're gonna head over to town, pick up a roll of fabric. Been climbing this hill for about a mile, and I think we're getting pretty close to our destination.
Your destination is on the right.
All right, we have arrived. Let's meet Andrew and check this thing out. So this is Andrew. Andrew's a subscriber to the channel, and he reached out to me and you know, see if I'd come down and check out a setup and maybe give him some pointers and some tips. And so we're gonna go check it out.
Generator battery's dead. Ironic, huh?
Yeah, this is winter's back.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that's what in upstate New York you get fall, spring, and then second winter.
So how many taps you got?
250. I ended up getting 250 drops this year, and I ended up using the very last one on the last tree, and I said, wow, that worked out.
Yeah, you know, I found out like the best way to do it is just order extra. Yeah, because you'll use them.
This is the first main line.
Okay.
Here.
Yep.
And then the second one starts back there. You can see it running down through.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And down there you can see the third one.
Really nice woods in here. It's pretty open, you know?
Yeah, I did a lot of
thinning?
yeah, I guess. Like there used to be a big dead tree right here just taking up this hole.
You got some pumps.
So I had that set up from there.
Yep.
And that ran to this first. And I wasn't concerned with the moisture trap because it's not a big deal. You pop a couple bolts off, pull the veins out, clean it.
Yep.
Not a big deal. Well, like these little pins here, you can see they just exploded.
Nothing too bad.
No, it overheated somehow, and I don't know. I did a lot of work to get that going, and then so I went to Dave and I said, all right, what do I do? Because I don't know what I'm, you know. So he said, I bought that new CDL. I think it's a 3/4 horse pump.
That's your vacuum pump right there.
Yeah.
So you power it off a generator.
Yep. Goes to that moisture trap, and that just has a float in it. So if the releaser fails and liquid runs up the line, that float will go up until it seals the vacuum off, and everything will just lose vacuum. But at least you didn't lose your investment there.
Yeah, your sap didn't get pulled right back into your vacuum pump. Yeah, that thing's the heart and soul right there.
You have to have that. That's no question. I wasn't gonna do it because I didn't think it was. Then I was, you know, talking, like I said, talking to Dave. He said, man, it's cheap. That's cheap compared to losing that.
Yeah, people.
It avoids the warranty and everything.
People have no idea how much those things cost. I don't know if you watch one of my videos. You know the spin seals. Yeah. You're more than welcome. I can bring it down and you can use it if you want. You burn a spin seal nipple in right here and one right here, and you put a small whip line in here, just like you got to your tree.
Okay. Yep.
Like this guy right here.
Yep.
You put basically same thing as this right here, and you run this like this.
Yeah.
So then you shut this valve off. She's a little froze. Won't
Yes,
break it. That's
back.
all right. That's that time of year. And then sap, when it's run, will back up. It'll push up into that. And as soon as it pushes into that whip, you can tell if you got a micro leak on this line.
Oh, really?
Saves you walking every single one of them and pulling down on them.
If it pushes into the whip, or if
it will fill up this whip line because this is closed.
Yeah.
And it'll push up in, and if it's building a nice like solid column of sap, you're good. But if you see it like racing like you would in a whip,
okay.
you have a micro leak. It's a quick man, cheap man's version of having it not to walk every single one of those whip lines. You still need to walk those though, because I found out this is pretty accurate, but it's not 100% accurate.
Yeah. Well, you try listening to it, but I have this sitting right there, so it's kind of it's kind of hard.
But you're gonna, like, most people don't understand, like most of your like your big leaks, yes, you would hear a big leak, but once things are tight, and you're down to micro leak, it's all about your eyes. If there's a micro chew on this line, like say a squirrel chewed this thing right here, like just a minute slice, you're not going to hear that.
Yeah.
What you're going to see is it's either going to be frosted up right there, and then the bad part about that is that everything behind it can't run because that's solid, froze solid. So you lose production. Does that make sense?
Yes.
System,
yeah, because I had a little leak on that green cam lock, which I think I'm going to switch those to either stainless steel or get rid of them next year. But there's a small leak on that somewhere, and I came out and that was froze solid. But it never actually even reached 32 degrees.
It doesn't have
So-
to. So that's the difference between making a lot of sap and not. Because you fix all those, you know, they're not going to show up on your vacuum pump because they're so small. You might see it a little bit, but those micro leaks are the game changers. You fix all those and you'll really, your production will really jump. We'll take a walk around. We'll look at some things. And so I'm going to come back in here tomorrow because the sap's not running right now. Everything's frozen. And it's hard for me to show somebody how to find micro leaks if the sap's not running. So a lot of stuff's frozen. There's frozen chunks in the line, and the vacuum's not getting to the trees. So, but we're gonna head over here to his sugar house and check that out quick. All right, so that didn't work out like we wanted. Sap is frozen. We figured it was a good idea to come back tomorrow. So sap should start running tomorrow. So once I get my vacuum pumps on, we're gonna fly back down here tomorrow, and we'll show them how to find some leaks. Woods looks nice. It's a nice setup. Right now, flying back home, I got to grab my truck and trailer to pick up a roll of stabilization fabric. There they are. Right there they be. Looks like they've been there for a while. Oh, he's got a bunch of them too. They got a little bit of everything down here. A bunch of culvert pipe. They got some SDR pipe over there. Pretty good sized plastic tanks over there too. I didn't even know they sold tanks. Huh. Well, he's on his way out here. We'll fire. Oh, they got to throw this on by hand maybe? All right, we'll see what they got here. All right, so they threw the roll on. It's not the roll that I wanted, but we're just gonna have to make do with this one. We got it all loaded up, we're ready to roll. Head back home. Made it back home with the roll all intact, didn't lose it off the back of the trailer. That was good. We're gonna call it a day for today, and then tomorrow we'll come back in here tomorrow and we'll go over there and see if we can find some leaks for Andrew. So back over here in Andrew's woods today, and we definitely got some sap running today. So his whip lines look pretty good to me. Man, he's got a tight woods here. We might not be able to find a leak. The guy doesn't even have any leaks on his woods. I mean, what can I say? A lot of times, like, you can just tell by looking. See how that build a column right there?
Yep.
Yeah, no leak on that. You don't have any leak. Yeah, see, that's fine. See how it's building a full column right there? And you know, you always run your hand up and feel for a micro chew, you know? Usually that's what I do.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had any squirrels tearing it up in here.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that taps are running pretty good. Like, see them up in there? I mean, that's what they're supposed to look like. Yeah. See it slowly coming out. Like, if you had a leak there, it'd be racing right out of that hole, you know? I don't know if you have a problem on this one.
Yeah, no.
I keep looking at it. Let me pull down right here.
I just saw it race by and I just...
Got one in it? Nope.
No, not that tree.
Pull this down a little bit.
That one was borderline, so I just left it.
Yep, see how that build up right
okay.
there? This is like the easy way of doing it.
So that shows if you don't have a leak that way, right?
Nope, from here up to here.
Oh, okay.
You're good.
Gotcha.
So you just keep working your way back. So we'll go past this tree. I'm gonna walk back down and check that whip again. And if it's racing in there, I'll pinch a couple of these off here and see if that's a problem. I'll be right back. I think that one was just running really good because I don't see a problem. Like science we need to know is 0 leaks. That's all we need to know. I mean, this one's, yeah, I mean, nice, good looking sap. I mean, look at it. Doesn't get no better than that. I'm spoiled. I forgot what it was like to go through a 200 tap woods. You could check in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. When I heard you say you had 6,600 or whatever, I was like, oh my God. 2 woods, right?
Just 2 woods, yep. I need to get back small scale. This is nice.
So how many taps does one of your woods have?
So my one woods has 4,400 and the other one's got 2,000.
4,400 taps in one woods.
Yep, and so that woods I can expand in it, and I'm going to add another 1,000 this summer, maybe more. And I was just in the other half this morning doing some layout. I think there might be 3,000. There should be like between 8,000 and 10,000 in that one woods.
Oh yeah.
So
You'll be close to that number you're aiming for.
yeah, trying. Not enough hours in a day, not enough time in a year.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Okay, we found one. We found one in his whole setup here. So right here, this line's racing right through here pretty good. Pretty obvious leak right there. It's not building up, so it's either this tap. It's pretty simple. He's got 2 taps here. This is why you want to keep your line short, because it takes 2 seconds to figure out the problem. So I'm gonna break out my vice grips, and we're gonna. You want to grab this for me, bud?
I'll get the one here.
All right, check that whip line right there. Did it slow up or is it still racing? Still racing.
Still going, yeah.
So that's not the problem. So this tree's okay. Everything.
Oh, all right. So we just checked that tap. Oh, look at the tap filled up actually.
Yep. So this one's okay. It must be this one back here. All right, let's go back and check that whip. That should have slowed right down.
Oh yeah. Wow.
That's your problem. It's either a bad tap or it's not seated hard enough. Looks like a good tree.
Yeah, it looks like a strong tree.
Barely in the
Pop
tree.
down.
So that's an easy fix. So I don't have anything to tap that in with. You?
No.
Oh, here's my good ones. There's my good ones right there.
I'm a caveman.
Here, take
That's
these. You
fine.
might be able to tap in with them. Try them.
Oh yeah. Are you even gonna see that on a PSI gauge?
You wouldn't.
No. But it still screwed up this tree.
Yeah.
So you could lose a line of 5 trees, 6 trees, 7 trees if you have that end one
Yep.
screwed up.
a lot of times,
Not
like
even know it.
like a good pump, like a pump that pulls a lot of vacuum, you're not gonna notice that. That's just more of a loss of sap than it is, you know,
Yeah.
a big leak. That probably would have froze solid last night. That probably was froze last night right here if I had to guess, right up in that
Yeah.
spout. But now it's happy. But that may have dried up too, who knows?
The guy who worked for me, he tapped all the trees, and
Mhm.
it was his first time ever doing it.
Mhm.
But I was busy running lines down there, so I said, just go through. I showed him how to do it, you know,
Yep.
watch for the tap holes. But that's probably far enough away.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, I make mistakes. Like that's why you got a leak
Ain't a
check.
big
You
deal,
come
yeah.
back through and you fix it and you're good. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And,
Here's one thing I can tell you is that tapping a tree is probably the most important thing too. Like you screw up 6,000 of them like that. You don't get, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
tapping a tree is very
so
important.
do you do the 2 inches over, 6 inches up and down deal, or?
I don't know. I see all these people got these certain ways. What I do, like if it's the first time tapping a tree, say this was the first year, I'd put that one right where it is. Next year I'd go all the way around to the other side.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because that way, I have seen taps pull air through an old hole. Like even if you're 6 inches apart like that, I've seen it suck air through and be a leak. Be a micro leak
yeah,
right there. So I always try to go as far away as possible. All right, let's walk down the line. Maybe we can find another one. We're gonna simulate a leak here because his woods only had one leak on it. So I'm gonna make try to make just a minute dumping here.
Yeah.
All right, right there. That should mess things up pretty good. So we'll go down to your whip line and we'll see what it's doing down there. So just imagine you didn't have this here, right? You didn't know that was there. That's pretty much what a squirrel chew would be right there. They'd be small like that, even smaller. Before this was
That
all nice
makes-
and full. Now you see how it's racing through there like that?
Yeah.
So basically,
From that little tiny
just that little minute
sliver. Yeah.
just from that little minute slice that I put in that line, that will mess your whole world up right there. So that would freeze solid on a cold day, so you wouldn't get any sap out of that tree. But what it's doing, it's messing everything up behind it. So stuff on this side is probably running, but anything behind that, it messes it all up and you just don't get the flow, you know? So you came up to this whip line and you looked, you're like, oh yep, I got a leak right there. So how am I gonna figure that out? So basically, this one's close enough. I put my vice grips on something like this right here. These are my good ones too. Pinch that off quick. You can look at it. It's still racing. So you know this is good. You know, you ran your hand on this, everything is good right to here. So then you'd isolate back, you go to the next one. I always run my hand on the line. That way if there's a chew, you would know. And then you can, pinch this one off. You'd go back there, it'd be racing. We know that because we know where we
Yeah,
made it.
yeah.
But then you can do this method too, like I showed you earlier. You can pull down on this, and I bet you it ain't gonna build up. She's tight. See how that's racing through there?
Oh yeah.
You'll come back to the problem, which is right here. So you know, these things are your lifesaver. Right here is this, right there is where I made it. So When it gets cold tonight, that would freeze solid up. That'd be a chunk of ice in there. So now you pinch that off. What the heck do I have those back out again? I got too many freaking pairs of vice grips on me. So we'll pinch that off. We'll go back and look at that one more time. Now this should be happy now. It should have slowed right up. Now look at it.
It's sitting there again.
So now you know that's where your problem is. A lot of my leaks this year were bad taps. So I pinched this off, come back, yep, it slowed right up.
For that, you just pull the tap and call it good that year for
I
the tap? Or?
I do. I take them right out. So like I'll put my tool on there, put your two-handed tool on here,
Yeah.
cut that off, put a straight connector in there, and I pop right out because I don't want to have to come back to that again, you know?
Yeah.
I know it's bad anyway.
Yeah, and
so.
you can't really move the hole because then,
Right.
and probably that tree just is hollow.
You'll get chews in these lines too, you know, they could be anywheres. So when you put your tool on here, pinch this side off of the vice grips and this side. That way you're not introducing any air into that. So that way you keep this, you don't want to introduce air, because the more air you get into these, shut these down, you know. That's the whole thing with leaks. That's why you don't want any leaks, because eventually it puts bacteria in a tap hole and shuts them down. That's the importance of the leaks.
That's probably why some of these trees, like this one, isn't cranking like it was, because this tap would have been full. I mean, this whole line.
So it's probably already dried up.
Yeah.
But you get the idea. If you see it, like people always say, oh, I can't hear the leak. You don't hear the leak, you see the leak. And right here this is about as simple as it gets. You see it sitting in there and you see the difference when it's racing through.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. Like some of them you push down and you'll see a little bit of bubbles go back, but majority so I didn't know if that meant to leak.
No. Well,
so I go and I checked that line and I couldn't find a single thing. So
I mean, if it's going back, like you saw that tap, how that tap was leaking and was acting, how that was pulling. Now that's obviously a leak, but you saw it here first.
Yeah.
Everything you need to know is right here in that whip line. That tells you everything you need to know. That's why you put them on.
3.
Cool. All right, let's go up. We'll fix that for you. And that's pretty much it, man. I think that's a pretty good crash course right there. I think you'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, well, I knew it would be like something simple, but you don't, like you said, you don't get it till you, and I didn't even think of like just making one myself and looking at it. But, and like this vice grip trick, little things like that.
Read and you learn, you're always learning new stuff, you know what I mean? I'll help anybody out.
A lot of reading with this stuff.
So we're gonna put my tool on here, we're gonna cut this in half now, put a straight connector in there, fix that. We'll take these off and probably have him shut his pump off. No sense in burning gas. No, I think we covered it pretty good. I mean, they can be a little trickier. Like sometimes, like you can walk around a tree. Like I had one of these right here this year, actually, right here, right where that tubing goes on. That had just a minute slice on the bottom side of that, and I fought that all for like about an hour trying to figure that out. Finally, I found it, and it was right there. But I wouldn't have known unless I isolated. You got to isolate everything, you know. We just left his house, and that was a good time, man. I had a lot of fun. I think we figured out some stuff, and he picked up on it pretty quick. So, if anything, hopefully he can find his leaks and get more sap. That's the name of the game. I'll help anybody out, man. I didn't have a lot of help coming up to you when I started doing this stuff. Kind of had to figure a lot of it out myself. I did have Jason give me a little help when I first got into it, but you know, I'm more than willing to help anybody out. Nice meeting Andrew. He's a great guy. He's got a nice setup there. You know, he put a little time in there, and he's gonna get some sap out of that woods, no doubt about it. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching.